were married to the great Alex Haley. Um, how did you two meet? It was it love at first sight for the two of you?
We met. Alex had come to my campus, Ohio State, where I was finishing up my PhD, and it just so happened that the day that he was on campus to speak, I was going over my notes because I had to defend my dissertation the next day. So I felt that I couldn't not stay home and do that, all those years of work. So a friend of mine went to the speech and taped it for me. So
Mm-hmm.
after my defense, I sat down and listened to that tape. And it brought back all of those things that in undergrad, when I had read Alex's work, the autobiography of Malcolm X, and it had so touched me, so moved me, brought all of that back. And I thought, oh my God, to be able to work with somebody, to be able to give him some assistance that he was saying in his speech that he needed. I would love to apprentice, with someone like that and give him my strength and support. And so I sent my resume out, and I did not realize that he was away for lengths of time on a freighter working on routes. And so during the time, I was also doing what I was supposed to do after I graduated, and that was going for my interviews in different colleges and whatnot. But what happened that day was I got into this despair because you know how you'll do something that really shows up to you what you don't want to do?
Right.
And that was what I was doing. As I went out on these interviews, it just magnified the fact to me that I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to work with Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And so there came a point that I just said, I'm not going to do, I'm just going to hide in Mama's garage, right? And that's what I was doing this particular Sunday. And my mother was always inviting somebody to Sunday dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was out there in the garage and I heard this voice. It said, "Hello." And this little Buddha shaped person stuck himself around the corner of the door. And he was a priest, he looked like a little ginger lamp. And he said, "You come, you come." And so I went in and sat down to dinner with him. And now I had never met this man before. And my mother said he was just traveling through. He was just a guest and he knew nothing about me. But he turned to me and pointed his fork at me and he said, "You must go to this next place."
Mm.
And I said, "What do you mean, my interview?" And he said, "Yes, yes, yes. Go make arrangements now. Go, go." So he was so emphatic that I got up and I went to the phone. I called my advisor and I told him to make the arrangements because I had initially said I'm not going. And so it was to the University of Boulder, University of Colorado Boulder.
Uh-huh.
And so I went there and with all this pluck and vinegar, right? And I'm up at the podium and I'm telling them all this stuff that I'm going to do as chairman of the Department of Black Studies or Communication. And I stopped about halfway and I said, "That's not what I want to do at all." I said, "I want to work with Alex Haley." And I started telling them why. That, how his work had impressed me. And as a counselor at Ohio State in my fellowship, and as I counseled other Black students, and invariably they would come in with their dog-eared copies of Malcolm X, talking about how it had changed their lives as well. And so I knew that when I finished my speaking and that I didn't get the job, right? So
Yeah.
I'm rushing down the aisle to get out the door, right? I just want to disappear. And this pleasant-faced Black woman in the back said to me, "Hey, can we talk?" And I'm thinking, "Oh God, just let me get out of here, right?" And she
Mm-hmm.
said, "But I know Alex Haley." I practically took that lady's arm out of socket, right? And so I went and got her out the hall, and she said the reason that you haven't heard from Alex is that he's on a freighter working, on route. She said, "But as soon as he comes back, I'll get your resume to him." And sure enough, the day that I had gone home for lunch, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you've ever had such a turning point in your life where it's so dramatic, right? It just
Mm-hmm.
takes you to the edge. I
Mm-hmm.
had stopped at the mailbox and on the way to my apartment and going down, I lived in the basement. I picked up my mail. And by the time I got to my apartment, I had opened my mail. There was a letter from Harvard, and they were inviting me to come to Harvard to teach. And I was thinking, I got inside my apartment and I just leaned up against that door, the front door, and I think I wept all the way down to the floor.
Wow.
God, what do you want me to do? Do you really want me to do this? Do you really want me, And I'm thinking to myself, this. I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. And so I just held the position. And for a few days after that, I would see different people on campus, like the graduate school, saying,
Mm-hmm.
"Have you lost your mind? You have not accepted her. Have you lost your mind?" And so this one day, just shortly after that, I went back to my office. I was working as intern to the executive vice president at the university at the time. And there was a receptionist there. And she's like everybody's cheerleader, Hi, good
Yeah.
morning. How are you? You always, right. And so I'm in the doldrums. The last thing you want to hear is hi. How are you? Right. So she's holding up this yellow telegram, and she's waving it. I mean, this envelope. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
this envelope. And I looked there, and on the corner there, it said H. And I
Oh.
got a little closer, and it had A. Oh my God. And I got into the office and it said L. Well, if somebody hadn't put a chair under my butt, I would have hit the floor. And the vice president came out at the time and opened the letter, and it was a letter from Alex inviting me to come to Jamaica to talk about working with him. Oh my God. I get goosebumps
Wow.
even telling you about it right now. And so right after that, he sent me a ticket, and I got to Jamaica. I let everybody off the plane because it was like walking to meet my dream. I needed some time to do that, right? So I get off the plane, go through customs, and this guy he was stocky, about 5'6", something like that, sweating bullets because it was so hot. And he said, "Hi, I'm Alex Haley." And there it was. And there were the time that we got into his little blue Toyota, loaded my stuff in, and we talked from the 45 minutes from Montego Bay, where the airport was, into the grill, where it's kind of was on the beach. And it just poured out all the things that he had done through the work of the autobiography for so many students who no way would have gotten through had they not had the impetus,
Mm.
the catalyzing of that book, to include myself. We all came from poor beginnings. We tried to reinvent ourselves through education. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what he had done. And that was the reason that I was there. We got there to his cottage, and once he got my things settled into my room, and he showed me what he was up against with Ruth, we went to work, and that was it. We went directly into
This
work.
is Deontay Curl, host of Turn Up the Volume podcast. Listen, do me a favor. If you like this video, do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button. Also, tap the bell and turn on all of your notifications to see this and more interviews and more shows from my podcast right here on my YouTube page. So, y'all hit that like button, tag, share, and subscribe. Y'all be good.